Hey guys, this is Juan with the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, letting you know that this episode is brought to you by San Marcos Mexican Restaurants, located right here at 2301 Southwest 59th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Give them a shout out at 405-685-7773 for your to-go order, or dine in and have the best customer service in the restaurant business. And also let Abel know that the Cine-Men Movie Podcast sent you and get 10% off of your order. And don't forget to check them out for $5 Margarita Wednesdays. It's the best medicine to get you through that hump day. So check them out, San Marcos Mexican Restaurant. It's the only restaurant of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.
You like that, old man? You want a piece of me?
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Good morning, Vietnam! I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
You do? You shoot your eye out, kid.
I answered. And don't call me Shirley.
There's no crying in baseball. This is wrong, bitch. Hey, the Schwartz baby.
I am the father.
At you, my pretty.
Take your stinking paws off me.
May the force be with you.
Here's Johnny.
Astro. Yeah.
Happy Monday, moviegoers, and welcome to a new week here at the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Juan, and I am joined by the cast, the crew. Ed,
Hey, what's up, folks?
Zach,
Hey guys, what's up?
Craig.
Yo.
What a episode, guys! What a week! What a week it has been! What a year it has been! And we are down to our final episode of the year, guys. Ed, we'll start with you. How was everybody's Christmas?
Christmas was great. Got to hang out with family, work through it. And that was
You have to
tiring.
say that like Vin Diesel.
Family.
Craig, what about you? How was your Christmas?
It was good. I actually got to enjoy it with my family this year.
Family.
Last year I had the vid.
You did have COVID last year,
Last year I missed my birthday, COVID, and New Year's. So
and our Wonder Woman episode.
yeah,
Should have been at the top of the list.
I missed several weeks.
Yeah.
So
We took it a lot serious back then. Now it's like,
you got the vid.
Yeah.
Wash your hands, 30 bits.
yeah. Zach, man, what about you, man? Did you have a good Christmas?
I did. Nice, very nice Christmas.
Nice. For those of you that were not with us last week, you guys can listen to all of our past episodes and which is now our most downloaded episode of all time, Spider-Man No Way Home. Go back into the archives and listen to it. You can check it out wherever you listen to podcasts at: Spotify, Anchor, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and now thanks to Prescribed Films Network, the PFPN, Apple Podcast. So check us out there wherever you listen to podcasts at. You can also go to www.prescribedfilms.com and download the episode there as well. And then this past Christmas weekend, I gave away a No Time to Die digital copy exclusively for iTunes. So follow us on the social media and you can win some digital copies. And those social medias are the facebook.com/Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Instagram is just one word, Cine-Men Movie Podcast. And then the Twitter is at Cine-Men405.
Tweet us.
Yeah, tweet us. Tweet away. A lot of girthy movie news that we can talk about today, since we kind of didn't talk about it last week. I'll get into some of the smaller stuff. DC and Warner Brothers is looking to put out the Blue Beetle, turned into a live action movie, 2023, which is going to be the helm of. So it's going to be the Blue Beetle, expected August 2023, and it's finally the first full length Mexican American superhero. He's going to be involved in the DCEU. And I'm kind of excited to see where they bring this new DC character into the actual universe of DC superheroes. Speaking of DC, Wonder Woman, we don't know how big her role is going to be, but she is going to be slated for Shazam 2, Battle of the Gods or Thunder. I think that Gods is in some one other name for Shazam 2. So it's going to be cool to see Wonder Woman in that world of Shazam and to see where they kind of kick that off going into Black Adam. So, and then, do you guys hear M. Night Shyamalan's new movie is In the Cabin, and it's going to be starring Dave Batista, and he's trying to film it the way they did 1917, to where it's going to be one continuous shot. I want to ask you guys right quick, have you guys seen Old, the latest M. Night Shyamalan movie, and what do you guys think of M. Night Shyamalan lately? Do you think, is he still a director that you guys want to go out and see some of his work, or do you think his time is up?
I have not seen Old. However, I mean, M. Night Shyamalan, due to his past work, I will probably take a look at most of the stuff he's worked on and done. But yeah.
I haven't seen Old. I kind of wanted to. I think you had said it was a decent watch.
Yeah.
I think he's just in that realm of people making fun of him like they do Nickelback. Like either he what he's made is good, and now he's just kind of like a meme to certain people. So
some of his stuff hasn't been up to par, like lately. A lot of people, you guys can probably agree that some of his best work is behind him.
Yeah.
But I think it's just going to be interesting. I mean, even though the plot twist in Old wasn't as grand as maybe Split, I still think it was a pretty cool movie and a good watch. So he's one of those directors that no matter what he puts out, whether it's in theaters or at home, I'm always going to try to at least check out once. Zach, what about you? What do you think of M. Night? Do is he somebody that you went and saw Old in the theater, correct?
Yeah.
Is he somebody that as soon as he puts out a movie, like what, I'd like to check that out in the theater?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a filmmaker that, while I think his glory days are behind him, I do think that he is capable of doing some good current stuff. Because I think all of us would agree that Split was a good movie. Glass was okay. I think he's definitely had a little bit of a resurgence since Split, and so I think it's good to see directors that have kind of fallen on the wayside have kind of come back, have a little comeback.
Dave Batista as the lead. What do you think?
Like you said, he's just trying to get out of the MCU and do more serious films. So I guess we'll find out. I don't think all of us were very high on Army of the Dead, but
I thought this was pretty funny. Ryan Reynolds was on a recent podcast lately, and he said he's been going to the same pizzeria for like 10 years, and they mistake him for Ben Affleck every single time. And supposedly for the last 10 years that he's been going in there, he's never corrected him. Do you think he's trolling do you think they're trolling him, or do you think they really think he's Ben Affleck?
I think they really think he's Ben Affleck.
I'm half and half on that because, I mean, dang, dude, like this long and you never looked him up just to be like, hey, nothing.
I mean, but that's like, it seems like it's in Ryan Reynolds' nature to just be like, you know what, you guys started this, now I'm going to take off and run with it.
Oh yeah, that does Deadpool fashion.
So Sony is releasing a Ghostbusters box set. When Afterlife comes out,
they asked for the female.
Yeah, and they're not going to release the 2016 version with the box set. You guys, thumbs up, thumbs down, or do you think it's not that big of a deal?
I mean, if they couldn't secure the rights, or they weren't.
No, they have the rights. They just don't want it part of their movie universe.
I mean, it's their right to do so if they want to, I guess. So there's that.
I mean, they probably saw the box office and realized, yeah, people probably don't want to see this.
True. Speaking of the box office, guys, it's been over 2 years, but finally we have a movie that hit $1 billion. Spider-Man No Way Home, over $1 billion. Did you guys think that it would take longer than a week?
No.
I wasn't sure on the timeline, to be fully honest. I knew it would make over $1 billion. I was confident in that, but I wasn't sure of the timeline. But I've been impressed, so yeah.
And then
I was going to say, I said it way back when this would be the first movie to hit $1 billion. So.
The director of Kick-Ass, who is now doing the Kingsman movies, is going back into the Kick-Ass universe and rebooting the series in 2 years.
I I'm looking forward to that.
It's not going to be a third installment. It's going to be a flat out reboot. You guys, I enjoyed the first Kick-Ass a lot, to where I'm like, oh, I'm kind of excited about the reboot. But what about the third one? I mean, or the second one? Did you guys like the second one at all with Jim Carrey, or have you seen it?
Haven't seen either.
No.
No.
Oh.
I think you'd like 1 definitely. 2, I did like it. I think it fell a little bit, but I did like it quite a bit too.
Zach, fan of any of them?
Well, I remember liking the first one. The second one, I don't remember much about it. So this is they're just rebooting it.
Yeah.
They're not going to bring back any. It's just a remake, basically.
Just a remake.
Damn.
Yeah, I guess that's the trend. So yeah, go ahead.
I wonder how Chloe Moretz Grace feels about that, because she was really...
She was a good hit girl.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen The Kingsman? Speaking of,
I have
Has
not, but I want to.
has anybody heard reviews on it?
I've heard it was mixed.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of, it's fine. But the director who's done the first 2 said that he is coming back and he's going to direct Kingsman 3.
Yeah.
So the Kingsman is a prequel.
Yes.
that he's still going to do.
The third one.
Basically, the
But
founding.
That's
of
all
it.
he's done, though. He's only done Kick-Ass and Kingsman, and I'm kind of like, dude, if you did Kick-Ass that good, I'd like to see what he could do with maybe a Man of Steel.
Oh, he directed First Class.
yeah,
It's the same director, so.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like he would be doing good in like a gritty comic book movie.
Yeah.
He did so good with Kick-Ass, like maybe a Spawn movie or something like that. I don't know.
Blade.
And then pretty much one of the bigger ones is Golden Globe nominations came out. Oscar talks are highly in the mix. I guess the Oscar predictions, Zach, this is new to me, but they pushed out Oscar nominations +1 to where they give their top 5 front runners and then 4 or 5 hidden secret films that could make a splash.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man No Way Home has actually been pushed into that Best Picture category.
Yeah.
And then you have some other movies like that. So you want to go over some of the Golden Globe nominations?
Yeah. I mean, you just want to do like.
Just do like Best Actor,
Picture.
Best Picture, and talk about maybe Best Actress.
Okay.
Or no, Director.
Hit that Golden Globe song.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do first Best Director. Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, Maggie Gyllenhaal for The Lost Daughter, Steven Spielberg for West Side Story, and Denis Villeneuve for Dune.
No surprise.
Best Actor. I'll do, because they divide them up between drama and comedy, so I'll just do the dramas if that's okay, or I can talk about the comedies as well.
Yeah, because one of the bigger comedies is going to be what we're talking about next week.
Yeah. So, best performance by an actor in a musical comedy: Leonardo DiCaprio, Don't Look Up; Peter Dinklage for Cyrano; Andrew Garfield, Tick Tick Boom; Copper Hoffman for Licorice Pizza; and Anthony Ramos for In the Heights. Best actress for a musical or comedy: Marion Cotillard for Annette; Elena Haim for Licorice Pizza; Jennifer Lawrence, Don't Look Up; Emma Stone for Cruella; and Rachel Zegler for West Side Story.
Have you seen Annette?
No.
With Adam Driver?
Mm.
Weird
Good.
fucking movie.
It's weird. It's
good.
a musical, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a musical. It's weird, but it's good.
Best actor in a drama: Mahershala Ali for Swan Song. That's an Apple TV movie. Javier Bardem for being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for Power of the Dog, Will Smith for King Richard, Denzel Washington for Tragedy of Macbeth. And the actress for the dramas are Jessica Chastain for the Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Lady Gaga for House of Gucci, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer, which is getting a lot of heat behind that one.
I really think that I thought the girl from Coda was going to be nominated.
Yeah, so did I.
Which I heard that was a really good movie.
And then here are your top 10 best pictures. Musical or comedy is Cyrano, Don't Look Up, Licorice Pizza, West Side Story, and Tick Tick Boom. And then for your dramas, Belfast, Coda, Dune, King Richard, and The Power of the Dog.
Licorice Pizza just came out this past weekend, and
I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of buzz about it being best movie.
Take the bass line out.
So, this is Edward with the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, going ahead and bringing you a little bit of OKC Soda Company information. They are a craft soda company born and raised in Oklahoma City. They have super unique flavors like strawberry milkshake and blueberry acai. They only use pure cane sugar and natural flavors and colors for that matter. They use a reverse osmosis filtered water, and they lightly carbonate it for an optimal refreshing taste that doesn't leave a heavy syrup filling like the other guys. You can actually find them at 1332 West Memorial in Oklahoma City. They are open Wednesday through Sunday, 2 to 8 usually, 3 to 6 on Sunday. They'll be closed this New Year's, so you only got 3 days this week to grab it. But yeah, give them a visit. Tell them that the Cinema Movie Podcast sent you, and get yourself a 6-pack or so.
My plot, let's stick up the world and split it 50-50. Let's take the dough and...
All right, guys, let's get into some recent watches. Craig, you want to start off? Do you have anything that you want to mention that you checked out?
Yeah. So I checked out Amazing Spider-Man. It was just on TV. Checked out Spider-Man 1 and 2, which was also on TV.
They're playing the hell out of those.
They did. They
for some
played the
reason.
hell, for some reason. I don't know why. Checked out some Harry Potter.
Oh.
Just movie marathons all day on
Hell
Christmas
yeah, dog.
Eve and Christmas Day. Watched some college football. All the ones that didn't get canceled from COVID. The Matrix Resurrections.
I checked out Matrix Resurrections twice. Did not get to check it out in the theater. But No Way Home did make me want to watch the Spider-Verse, so I did go home and watch Into the Spider-Verse.
So good.
Man, if you're talking just a great overall movie, like I would have to put Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse at like maybe number 2 or 3. It's definitely in the top 5.
For Spider-Man films or for
Just Spider-Man films in general.
Yeah.
I checked out It's a Wonderful Life on Christmas Eve, Die Hard on Christmas Eve, Four Christmases on Christmas Eve. Being the Ricardos. I did not know if I was going to like it or not because I did not watch a lot of I Love Lucy episodes other than when I stayed home sick. But Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem, just the chemistry was so good. Even though they don't really, in some instances, Javier did not really look like Ricky Ricardo. But the movie was you're just so drawn into his performance as Ricky and has him trying to look out for Lucy that you're just in awe of the performances. And it's really not really about them and doing any certain episodes. It's about their relationship during some of the most tough times of Lucy's accusations of being a communist.
So literally, it's about Lucille Ball and Desi Barnes playing Ricky and all that, or
Yeah.
like okay, I was about to say like I was wanting to know.
It's like their time shooting the show.
Okay,
like
so it's
like
behind
what
the
that was
scenes
behind.
too.
Yeah, what was going on during that time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That'd be
But it's a
interesting.
really, really good movie. You guys can check it out on Amazon Prime. And then I checked out a few new movies. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. You know what? For it only being an hour and a half, I kind of did not think it was that bad. I just kind of sat back and open-minded. And you know what? The thing that really kept me intrigued in this movie was the comedy between Tom Hardy and Venom. Man, I just thought it was a fun... If it was like 2 hours and it dragged, I really would have thought that this movie probably would not be very much fun. But yeah, it was in and it was out. And then The Last Duel. It took me 2 settings to watch it because it was 2 hours and 30 minutes, plus it was kind of brutal. But I really, really say one of my favorite films of the year. And again, The Matrix on HBO Max. If I had to choose anything to recommend, it would definitely be Being the Ricardos on Amazon Prime. And then you could probably check out Venom and The Last Duel at the Redbox. Ed, what about you? What'd you check out this week?
Since the last time I was here, I've done Return of the King extended edition for that matter. Within
4 hours and 20 minutes.
I think it's like 4 hours and 12, but yeah, not too far off from that. Yeah. Literally watched all 3 within like a week, for that matter, of all 3 extended editions. I'm about to do The Hobbit this upcoming week. I've started the new season of Letterkenny that just came out Sunday the 26th. Only in the first episode. I'm about to start The Witcher as well, so there's that. And then Spider-Man No Way Home, of course, Matrix Resurrections, and let's see, Amazing Spider-Man 2. But yeah, if I had to recommend anything out of those, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and of course Spider-Man No Way Home. If you have not seen that, you need to. It's purely amazing. So simple as that.
And don't forget to download our episode last week when we talked all about Spider-Man No Way Home. So, Zach, what about you, man? What did you check out this week?
Yeah, kind of going between two episodes with Spider-Man and this episode. Checked out King Richard on HBO Max before it left HBO Max. Very, very good film. I can see why Will Smith is probably going to get nominated for an Oscar. I thought he was probably one of the best performances he's done in a while. The Power of the Dog on Netflix. I get why this movie is getting all the praise, but at the same time, I'll never watch it again. Hawkeye just wrapped up its season finale on Disney Plus. Overall, pretty good show. Basically a buddy cop comedy. Thought it was good between the chemistry of Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld. Watched all three versions of The Grinch over the week.
What'd you think of the Kingpin?
It was awesome. It's
Yeah.
fun that they're taking things from different parts of the MCU and bringing them back. So
I have to say that this is probably my second favorite Disney Plus show of the year.
Loki's still number one.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. Charlie Brown Christmas. Checked out the new show on Paramount Plus, 1883, the Yellowstone prequel.
How was that?
It's pretty good. It's kind of like going back to the rough days of the Wild West with Sam Elliott, Tim McGraw, and Faith Hill.
Still on the Yellowstone Ranch though?
No, this is kind of like how Yellowstone becomes Yellowstone.
Okay,
how that
okay.
ranch becomes.
How is it a mini series or is it just a season one? How many episodes are going to be in this?
I think there's going to be 12 episodes, but
damn.
I don't know if it's going to be like this is it and then that's it, or it's like it was like the highest watched premiere on Paramount Plus. So I'm sure there's going to be another season of it. Went to the theater several times. Checked out A Journal for Jordan, Michael B. Jordan's new movie, directed by Denzel Washington.
It's fine.
It's pretty good, honestly.
How many stars would you give it?
Probably like 8.
8. That's
Yeah.
more than it's pretty good.
Yeah. West Side Story. Everything you heard about it is absolutely true. One of the best movies of the year. Nightmare Alley. Guillermo del Toro's new movie with Bradley Cooper. It's fine. It's
Really?
fine. Yeah. And then Matrix Resurrections for today's episode.
Nice. If you had to recommend anything, what would you recommend?
Either West Side Story or definitely check out or finish Hawkeye on Disney Plus.
Hey guys, Craig here with the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Did you guys have too many electronics after that Christmas Day opening? CDR is paying top dollar for your old electronics. $200 for a PS4, $160 for an iPhone 8, $175 for a Nintendo Switch, or if you have extra Christmas money that your grandmama gave you, your granddaddy, go up there and buy some of those consoles or new games, movies. Go up there and check them out. They got a huge selection, and you won't be remiss for checking them out. So go check them out.
All right, Zach. I believe you have some things that we did not know about the Matrix Resurrections.
Yeah, so unlike other productions, no second unit was needed during the action sequences as Lana Wachowski directed all the scenes herself. Under the code name Project Ice Cream, the film began production in San Francisco on February the 4th of 2020. This is the first Matrix film to be shot digitally, unlike the first 3 films, which were shot in a Super 35mm format. And Hugo Weaving was originally approached to reprise his role as Mr. Smith, but he had to turn it down due to scheduling conflicts with other films.
I wonder what those other films were been. All right, guys. This week we are talking our top 5 overall movie theater experiences. It doesn't have to be of this year. It's just overall anything we can remember back to. I thought this would be a pretty fun way to kind of just, because when you think of some people's movie theater experiences, you think of them talking about The Matrix for the first time. So I thought it'd be a really fun conversation. So I announced it last week. So if you guys have any, I got some emails about it. So send us some more emails at cinemen921@gmail.com, and we will go over them in the email bag. Anybody got any honorable mentions?
Are we doing just good or are we doing bad as well?
If some of them are bad, you can talk bad.
Okay.
I have a few I'll go through. Zach?
Talk
Okay.
shit about it.
Yeah, I got 3. I'll just wrap it through mine. A Star is Born, Force Awakens, and my official honorable mention is Creed.
Nice.
Creed, like, can you take me high?
And-
Yeah, it was front row tickets.
And
Back in the day, those used to be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Um,
They're doing for the
no.
the Barstool Sports bowl game. Creed is their halftime show.
What is that? Is that a real ball game?
That's a real bowl game.
Nice. That sounds like something OSU would be in.
And here's to get your popcorn and use a bathroom break. We present Creed.
No. I'm gonna rapid fire through mine. I only have 2. My how do I put this? My first one is gonna be Titanic in the IMAX in 2012. For it being an older movie and seeing it in the IMAX and just seeing it in a sold out crowd, I was literally elbow to elbow with people from the front row all the way to the back was packed. Some of those scenes were just still emotional so many years later, and then looking over and just seeing some people just like sobbing and maybe not have ever seen this movie at all. I think it's phenomenal. I wish they would do more IMAX releases for movies like that. Maybe with COVID being behind us and stuff, maybe they will start doing stuff like that, but it was just a really, really good experience. And then my official honorable mention, which I'm sure somewhere it'll be on some people's lists, Infinity War in 2018. The entire movie, the ending, the snap, it was just, in the theater I was in opening night, you could hear a pin drop when those heroes started going down. So, some of these titles that I'm going to name in my top 5 are probably going to be really, really emotional for me. But yeah, it's those are my 2 honorable mentions. Anybody else? Or we'll start off with 5. Ed, let's start off with you. You have what's your number 5 theater experience?
Number 5 is going to be a bad, negative one. I went to see Countdown. I
You
regret.
create those issues your own self, brother.
Look, man, I regret it because literally it was between that and Joker.
You never let the female
you know.
pick the movie.
Hey, you're not wrong on that. But no, I'm just kidding. No, it just fucking sucked. We thought it'd be better. We thought it'd be something good, and it was just. That's the first movie I've literally wanted to just walk the fuck out on.
You should have.
So yeah, Countdown. Fuck you.
My number 5 is also, Ed, going to be a bad experience, and I think it was with you.
Shit.
We went and saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to get ready for the episode. July 2019, 115 degrees outside.
I remember this day.
We get in the movie theater. We're about an hour and a half in, and the electricity just goes off.
Fucking pops.
And it starts getting warm. The theater was already warm to begin with, because let's face it, it's not a very good theater. It's crummy. They probably didn't pay for AC to begin with.
No tune-ups.
Yeah. So me and Ed, we're some hefty fellas sitting right next to each other. This is pre-COVID, so we're we got some people around us, and we're just baking, brother. We're baking, and
Baked beans.
we started smelling like baked beans probably afterwards, but we waited what? And Zach, everybody can attest to, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is already a 3-hour-long movie.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is. I think we went in at like 11 o'clock to watch it.
You guys texted me at like 4:45, 5 o'clock. I'm like,
We just got out.
finally got out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I want to press that this isn't a negative opinion about the movie. It's a negative opinion about the experience.
Correct. Yeah. And good quote there, Ed. These movies, this isn't necessarily good or bad on the movie, but this is just our experience in the theater. This is a bad experience for me. So, and ever since then, I've never been back to that theater, and I don't plan on ever going back. So, you took a 3-hour movie and made it into a 4.5-hour trip. I was sweaty. Yeah.
Like a 3-hour movie is already long enough, and once after that movie, you're like, okay, it's time to go home. That was a half a day of being awake, because usually you're only up for like 10 to 12 hours and whatnot.
That was almost like a whole shift at work. And I just didn't enjoy. I don't enjoy sweating, period. But especially when I'm watching a movie. So very, very bad experience. Yeah.
We shall not name the theater.
Yeah. Fuck AMC. Zach, what about you? You have any? Do you have any?
Not me. I'm a shareholder, bro.
What's your number 5?
One you already mentioned in your honorable mention is Infinity War. Truly one of those great experiences being in the theater with the packed crowd and just hearing everyone's reaction to everything that went down. So,
Craig, what about you? What do you got at number 5?
Number 5 for me is going to be a negative experience. For those of you who don't know, I was born with something on my right eye that kind of limits my vision. So 3D does not work for me. And me and Johnny went to go see Transformers in 3D, thinking I could just possibly bypass it some way, somehow. Not only was it a bad experience because I could not do the 3D, we legit had front row seats, and so we're having to look up left and right. And
we thought it was going to be cool. They'd go over our heads or some shit, but it was pretty bad. Didn't we try to get a refund too?
We didn't try.
We
I was just like, dude, I'm just whatever. Let's just get out of here and I'll watch it when it comes out. So,
do you remember what Transformers it was? Was it 3? Because I don't think Megan Fox was in it, but Shia LaBeouf was. And I think it was 3.
Yeah, I think it was 3.
Yeah.
Not again. The movie itself is not terrible. It's not the best, but that experience was definitely one that every time I see front row seats, I'm just like, whoever sits there is an idiot. And yeah, that's it. Number 5.
Edward, sir, what's your number 4 experience?
Number 4, and the only reason I'm putting it this way is that it was so new. Spider-Man No Way Home, a positive experience for that matter. Just probably one of the movies that walked in was kind of like, okay, this could be several different things. It could happen in several ways. So just shut up, watch the movie, and you'll go about your experience. And I mean, my theater, unlike y'all's, was not packed at all. I had maybe 14 or 13 other people with me. However, it was a wonderful experience. It was wonderful because of the movie mainly. The theater was but I walked out pretty high up. I spirit soaring that day, so it gave me kind of an extra boost when I was doing my overnight shifts, just to kind of go in with a bit of extra vigor, something to talk about, and all that good stuff, and go from there. So yeah, positive. Spider-Man No Way Home.
My number 4 is going to be positive. It was the very first time that I seen any kind of Star Wars film in a movie theater. It was Episode 1, May of 2000. I was over the head, super, super excited about this movie. I had the Star Wars shirt. They let me walk in with a little lightsaber. They had the box of popcorn with Star Wars all over it. Even some of the candy was in a Star Wars box. So it was a super, super fun experience. Nothing was like seeing that big Star Wars logo pop up with the music for the very first time in an actual packed theater. And only being 10, I thought it was just super, super fascinating. So that's one of my favorite experiences. That's number 4 for me. Zach, what do you have at number 4?
Number 4, when you take a film that you already love and you get to see it on the big screen, it's a very incredible experience. Number 4 is when they re-released Jurassic Park in 3D. Got to see it in the IMAX in honor for, I think it's its 20th anniversary for the film. Man, when you like the T-Rex breakout, man, that just when you get to see that on a huge screen, that's just like it still gives you goosebumps.
Not to mention the sound.
The sound was incredible. Just there's a lot of, I think with the Titanic 3D conversion, there's not a lot of those that are actually good, but this one and the Titanic one was actually really well done.
Really good. Craig, what do you have at number 4?
Number 4 for me is going to be one of the earliest memories I have of going to the theater. It was my entire family. We stopped at I think it was McDonald's. Got some Happy Meals. Got the Toy Story 2 toy in the box, and went and saw Toy Story 2. Yeah, I mean, just one of those memories that sticks with you forever because it was just like everything went right that day, and it's just you remember getting the toy out of the Happy Meal. You remember going to see the movie, and yeah, I mean, one of those things that makes movie theaters what they are. So number 4 for me is Toy Story 2.
Edward, sir, number 3 for you.
I'm gonna go with Avengers Endgame. I went with both you and Craig for that matter. Uh, that one was kind of the same way with Spider-Man: No Way Home. Really, really high up. It was awesome to see the crowd's reactions during different things. Specifically like when Cap finally got to say, Avengers Assemble, different stuff like that.
When he pulled in Mjolnir,
yeah,
that shit was wild.
Yes, and the tears when the fucking dead silence when Iron Man was dying, basically. That was incredibly just powerful. Different stuff like that is kind of what makes a theater going experience. Even if the theater is kind of it makes a theater going experience so much more just because literally you can share it with any and everybody else. So yeah, that was really, really cool.
My number 3, and I don't mean to be like a buzzkill for any of this because those are some fun conversations, but my number 3 is going to be I don't think I saw it opening night or even second opening night. I think I saw it that Sunday or Saturday after. Star Wars Force Awakens. Awakens. It was a really, really emotional movie for me just because like a whole year before I had talked to my dad about, hey, they're coming out with a new Star Wars movie. Disney's doing it. And at first he was like super, super bummed out about it. Like Mickey Mouse was putting a fucking Disney movie together or a Star Wars movie together. But when we found out that the original cast was going to come back, it was like just super, super exciting. It was fun. And he was the guy who never went to the movie theater. So, when he said he was going to go and we're going to go check it out, it was like super, super fun. And then unfortunately he did not get to make it to the movie because he passed away. But I went to go see it, and literally the opening theme, the logo, just seeing everything in front of you so many years later after the news of the movie coming out, and then not knowing how you're going to react when you see Harrison Ford on the screen, Chewie, the music, Princess Leia, and then even though it took like 2 hours and 30-something minutes, you finally get to see Mark Hamill on screen. Those were the scenes that just like hit you. Like they hit you hard. And then I think Disney did that one right, and that was probably one of the most perfect comebacks that you could, and I would call it a comeback because, I mean, people who weren't a fan of the prequels, that was their first Star Wars movie that they probably went to go see since Return of the Jedi, if you're talking like original sequel fans or original fans. So, and then, being how ballsy were they to kill off Han Solo at the hand of his own kid. So it was a very, very fun night, very, very emotional, and I'll never forget that experience. And I don't think, other than 2 other films that are on my list, nothing else comes close to the goosebumps that I had throughout that whole movie. So it's my number 3. Zach, what's your number 3?
Number 3 is probably a film that I thought it was going to be good, but I had no idea how good it was going to be, and especially seeing it on the big screen. It was just an incredible experience. Number 3 is Mission Impossible Fallout. Truly, one of the probably best action movies probably in the last 10 years. The whole scene where he jumps out of the plane is just follows him all the way down to the ground. You're like clutching your armchair the entire time. It is.
I bet the fight with Henry Cavill in the bathroom was really good on the big screen.
And we had a good crowd for that, and so it was like the oohs and the ahs and everything. It was so much fun. And I mean, I know there's going to be a 7 and 8, but I mean, just like if that was the last one in the franchise, I would have been good with it. Like, I'm good.
It was a good movie. I bet it was a fun experience. Craig, number 3 for you?
Number 3 for me is going to be Rogue One. When me, you, and there was a third person there. Can't remember who.
I think it was just me and you.
Okay, but we went to Harkins. It was like December 18th on my birthday. We both kind of knew coming in that it was going to be at least decent because of the success of Episode 7. And
The line was
the
massive.
line, like we got there early, we were sitting there waiting, and just the anticipation, everybody talking, kind of getting to see, some of the older style Star Wars stuff in this film. In the trailers, you were just like, this movie's going to be a gritty war movie, and it was just one of those movies where the you could just feel it in the air.
I think seeing Vader in the previews kind of made it like that much bigger.
Yeah,
And then when you're watching the movie and he's only in it for like that 3 minute part, you're like, oh,
but it made it worth it.
It did at the end, yeah.
So, number 3 for me is Rogue One.
Edward, sir, what is your second most favorite movie experience?
Favorite's not a word I would use for this movie or this experience at all. The only thing that made this experience good was now old friends, but at the time, buddy from Basics, for that matter. Went down to a theater in Georgia on Family Day.
Oh, you did go down to Georgia.
Yeah, no, I did,
Edward went down to Georgia. He was looking for a movie to watch.
And it was myself and, at the time, girlfriend, now wife. Him, same thing. At the time, girlfriend, now wife.
I'm sorry.
Basically, we were like kind of like having them tag along with us and all that shit. Either way, it was the 5-year engagement. Me and this friend, we both fell asleep in the movie theater. Like we fucking used our time wisely because we paid too much money for that. I think a pigeon paid too much money to see that. To be honest.
At least you got a good nap in.
Not a pigeon.
Yeah, no, a fucking pigeon did. Like he brought a piece of popcorn and that was too much for that. So yeah, save yourself the trouble and save yourself the time. Don't ever go see the 5-year engagement.
Isn't that the one with Chris Pratt?
I don't give a shit. No, I don't think it is. I don't even give a shit if it is. Fuck that movie. Fuck that movie.
Oh wow.
I will rate that up there with Dragon Ball Evolution. That it's that bad.
That bad?
That bad, sir.
Jeez. My number 2 is going to be sold out IMAX 2012. Waited in the hot summer line just to get in the building, and then once the building opened, still waited in another hot line because it was still so hot in the lobby. But they had the 1966 Batman theme song playing throughout the whole building, and in the actual IMAX theater, they had the bat signals up on the curtains, up on the movie theater walls. This was for The Dark Knight Rises in 2012. Literally, it wasn't Thursday night, but it was early Friday morning that I got to go see it. And just the way they had everything set up, the music, the lines, everybody was excited for this movie because it was the end of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, and everybody knew that it was the end. So this was before you got people telling you that, hey, this is the end of the series. There will be no more after this. So I think everybody was just kind of like, what's going to happen? Does he die? What's going to happen with Bane? I think it was just the anticipation of that movie. And then the thing that really made it that much better was when the movie was over, every single ass in that theater stood up and applauded. And it was a good, a good applaud. So everybody stood up, and it was fun. I haven't been, even Endgame, even Infinity War, the theaters that I were in for those, there was some applause, but this was a standing applause. So that was a good Christopher Nolan film, and it was a fun experience. Number 2 for me. Zach?
My number 2 is another film that came out that same year, 2012, just a couple months before that. The Avengers. The fact that that was the first big entry into the MCU with all the characters and all the stories that we had leading up to that. It was a major payoff. It was everything. Me and my friends that went with me we want it to be, and we really thought about just buying another ticket once the movie was over, just to go see it again, just right afterwards. It was just a fun experience, and yeah, we did have bigger films later in with the MCU, but I think that one was just kind of like the pinnacle of this is something special, and we're in for a ride for whatever comes next.
Craig?
Yeah, number 2 for me, another Star Wars movie, another birthday. Called into work, or took off the day. Went in Friday at like 7:30, by myself. Just
That's
kind
when
of
we were working at that steel company you called in that day.
yeah. So went in. I actually there was a friend of mine was there. Eric from 7-Eleven. You remember that?
Yeah.
I ended up seeing him there at the theater, and our seats were fairly close. And so, you walked in, same thing with Batman. You had the Star Wars music playing. You had the Star Wars kind of light shining on the the curtain before it started. They had a guy come out and give a whole speech, and they turned off the lights, and just a whole event. And I think this is when I started really going to theaters, and it was more of like an event type thing, not just going to see a movie. I didn't get to see the Avengers in the theater. I didn't get to see Batman in the theater. I didn't really get to see any Marvel movies up to that point in the theater. So this was definitely like one of those ones where it was like, this is bigger than just the film. So
Yeah, Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, yeah. So my number 2.
I don't want to talk about that before we continue. Like, before this podcast, you were lucky to get me into a movie theater once or twice a year. I was like, still, I was a huge physical media guy, and I just wait for the movie to watch it at home. But yeah, I hardly ever went to the movie theaters.
Yeah, before, I think, I'm just gonna say, before Marvel and essentially Disney came out and started making these films, you would never catch me at a theater. I thought paying $8 for a ticket was too much. Of course, that was when I was in high school and I didn't have much money of my own. But now it's like, when does it come out?
Yeah,
Like that's an event I need to be at. So
yeah. It's real fun now. So, Ed, number 1.
I've only gotten to go to a few movies that have been like before the actual release. I kind of went to, I think, one with you, Zach. What was that?
Was it Good Boys?
Yes,
Yeah.
Good Boys. Yeah. Other than working at the theater and getting to see them the night before, a couple nights before, I've gone to, I think, 3 total. The most favorite one, and this is my favorite experience, positive and all that good stuff, was Dragon Ball Resurrection F.
I really thought you were going to say Evolution. I was like, what?
no, he
Sounds
said
like a twist.
positive, so I knew it wasn't.
I got to see it beforehand, and basically, all the people that kind of the same thing, similar with y'all, they were playing little clips of prior episodes and stuff like that on the screen. They had all kinds of people. They filled like 4 theaters, I think, or something like that, of all these Dragon Ball fans. Everybody dressed up, was going in shirts or, full gear. There was several people with full, armor on and all that good stuff. A couple people even with like Namekian gear on and all that. So yeah, it was just overall, it was just an awesome experience to share with, a couple hundred strangers that kind of united to, give their thanks to a series and movies and different stuff like that. And the movie was awesome itself. So yeah, I got to say I loved that experience. So yeah.
My number 1 movie experience, which is positive, is in the same universe and trilogy that I talked about last, is The Dark Knight. Again, you don't get a standing ovation with this movie. Everybody applauded after the movie, but the fact of knowing what we're getting with this movie, everybody was already super excited about the Joker at the end of Batman Begins with the card, and then you find out the cast, and you hear all the rumblings, and you're excited, and then January hits, and you lose Heath Ledger, and you still have 6 months before the movie comes out, and you're like, are they going to release it, or is it still going to be the same? Are they going to go and do some editing? How is this movie going to end up? And really live action Batman fans don't have a Joker other than Jack Nicholson. Almost 10 years prior, and you're 20 years prior. Jesus, and you're like, you still don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to go in and redo some editing? Is somebody else going to play the Joker? But to go in there and see the performance that you saw on the big screen on the IMAX with Heath Ledger and the Joker and Batman, and just tremendous movie and writing from Christopher Nolan. And then to see what the product was when it was over, and to hear everybody's rumbling and applause for that guy, man, it's pretty good. It's pretty emotional. Getting goosebumps talking about it right now. And then you have the Oscar ceremony just months after the release, and he wins the award for it. So, really, really fantastic performance. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. So, and the experience of seeing it opening weekend was fun. And not to mention, this was like years before the Joker incident or the movie theater shooting incident. So being surrounded by everybody who was actually dressed up like the Heath Ledger Joker is phenomenal. Zach, number one for you?
Number one for me is I remember walking out of the theater to see this, and that's truly why you go to the theaters, to see have an experience like that. Number one was Dunkirk. Seeing that on the big screen, the the opening sequence where they're going through the city, and the firing bullets start going, and you could like the sound in that theater was so loud, the seats were vibrating, just like it gets you into the experience of what was happening with the story and these characters. And I mean, whether you're on the ground, you're on the ocean, or you're in the air, it just was just a phenomenal experience.
I almost put 1917 in that list.
Yeah, that was another one that was good. But Dunkirk, that was just a whole nother level, and for me, like that's to me was like, that's why we go to the theater, to see experiences like that.
Movies like that. And I can tell you guys right now, if I saw Saving Private Ryan in the movie theater,
that would have been number one.
Craig, sir?
Number one for me is, I'm going to combine the two. It's Infinity War and Endgame. I mean, that was just seeing everybody there kind of, ready to know what is actually going to happen. Infinity War, we were all still kind of, we'd never really dealt with anything that they did in Infinity War at that point. And so whenever it actually happened, everybody's just gasped and at a loss for words. So, those two films in the theater, a year apart. The anticipation in the year was something that I think leads into the experience as well, not just at the theater. So, I mean, having a year-long anticipation for a film leads into Endgame as well. So I think those are my number ones.
Again, guys, good or bad, send us in your top 5 movie theater experiences, and we will read them at the end of this episode, but also at the end of next week's episode.
Up all night, all I'm singing is love songs. She got me up all night, constant drinking and love songs. She got me up all night, down and out with these love songs.
Don't forget, guys, if you want to help support the show, go check out Ray's Energy Drinks. It's the only way that you can use some great energy to stay up, whether it's powder mix drinks or the actual energy drink itself. Check them out. We have the links on our page. Help support the show. Get 15% off of your order when you use the code Cine-Men405 at the checkout. You can get your kit, or you can get a 6-pack or a case of your favorite flavors through Ray's Energy. Check it out. It's what we use to stay up and watch those girthy movies or those marathons like Craig's been watching. So get through it. Get you some energy in your system, and don't forget, help support the show. Use Cine-Men405 at the checkout and help support your favorite movie podcast.
Tossed out like got crisscross, totally crossed out, cause now I'm in this bitch and I'm totally bossed out. Old 6 trying to
All right, guys, it is time to enter the Matrix and let's discuss the Matrix Resurrections, which is currently on HBO Max or in theaters. So go check it out. Let us know what you think of the Matrix Resurrections. IMDb currently has it at a 5.8, while Rotten Tomatoes at 66%. The Metascore is at 64%, and then the Google users are at 65%. With a budget of $190 million, so far technically it's only grossed a little over $70 million at the box office with a December 22nd, 2021 release date. Return to a world of two realities, one everyday life, the other lies behind it, to find out if his reality is a construct to truly know himself. Mr. Anderson will have to choose to follow the White Rabbit once again. Um, and you have a cast of Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jonathan Groff, Jessica Henwick, directed by Lana Wachowski.
Try it, Johnny.
And playing Morpheus, Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Which is also, he's a Candyman.
Yes.
So, should be pretty interesting.
You could have just said Candyman.
There you go. The Candyman. Guys, we're going to check it out. We're going to talk about it. It is currently on HBO Max if you do not want to go check it out in theaters. So, again, we'll go around, and if anybody watched it more than once, we'll talk about it. But, Zach, we'll start with you. On your first initial watch, what was it like, man? Did you have the desire to go back and rewatch it after, or was one time enough for you?
One time was enough for me. I mean, truthfully,
dead honesty here, because this is the last movie of the year that we're talking about, and to be honest with you, it was on a lot of people's radar of being one of the most anticipated movies of the year.
Right. To me, I don't hate this movie, but I don't like it. It's just one of those weird movies where just like I never want to watch it again, and I don't. We'll get into it, but I just don't understand what they were going for with this.
I unfortunately watched it twice. I checked it out on like a 30-inch TV in a hotel room because I was out of town, and then I came back and watched it on the big screen at home. And I'm with you. I'm kind of sitting there deciding why you have a fourth installment. I can get why, because Keanu Reeves is hot, so let's cash in on it. You want to enter that world again with all the technology that you have. Let's revisit. Is there a lot of stuff in this movie I like? There's a lot of stuff in this movie that I like that's better than Reloaded and Revolutions. But then also I'm like, it's 2021 and this is the best CGI you can come up with.
Yeah.
Some of the CGI was god awful. The story was a little give or take. At the end of the day, I called it a sci-fi love story. At the end of the day, it's, if you're expecting kung fu and badassery and guns ablazing, you get some of that, but this is more about Neo's love life, if you ask me. Craig, man, let's get into your head. Let's get into your thoughts. Did you take the red pill or the blue pill? And, this is one of your movies that you were super, super high on throughout the whole year. You're a fan of the franchise. What'd you think?
I'm with you guys. I don't see why it was needed other than to try and pull in money from Keanu Reeves being hot. I think they had good intentions. I don't think it was all just a cash grab. I think they were really like, you know what, I kind of want to dig back into this universe that is loved by many. I just don't think what they thought was going to be good on paper became what they thought on the screen. And I'll leave it there.
Ed, in a few short words, man, what'd you think?
It insists upon itself taking too much from the original trilogy and using it seems partially lazy. We had talked a little bit beforehand because both you and I were out of town, but yeah, it just seems kind of like they're trying to tell you a story, and they're just like, yeah, let's put this in, and we don't need to explain it to you. It's our story. Fuck you, kind of thing.
I'll be honest with you. I think and we'll go ahead and start getting into it. I honestly think it was just a I don't think there was a demand for a Matrix 4. I think it was just Warner Brothers trying to bank on how hot Keanu Reeves has been in the box office. And they probably, spent three. It felt like they spent 3 days to come up with the story. Keanu Reeves said he's in. Let's put this together.
But the thing is like, I mean, after watching this movie, it's kind of I'm taking in like Keanu Reeves' credibility because in an interview he said it takes a mastermind filmmaker to make this film, and I don't see it.
I don't see it either. I think it takes a mastermind to fuck up a franchise, and I think you already had a bad taste with Revolutions. You don't. Maybe that's why they did it, is because of the bad taste Revolutions left in some people's mouths. And we talked about it a few weeks ago. If you want to go back and listen to that episode, go for it. It's in the archives, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you listen to podcasts. But truthfully, in that episode, I said I don't think it can get much worse than this. So I think it'll be a pretty good film. Zach, what was one of your biggest concerns or worries about it? Because I mean, first off, how did you guys think of the open? Did you like how it kind of went back to the original, and it was almost like, were the flashbacks too much for you guys?
That's one of the biggest downfalls, irritations about this movie that I can wholeheartedly say is that this movie is so meta, it's almost like it's ridiculous. I mean, the fact that if you're trying to build off of something, you don't need to remind people what came before, because there is tons of scenes where like the movie's being projected on like curtains or whatever, and it's just like, what is the point of that? Like, I understand like you're trying to like overlap what came before, and like this is kind of like another timeline or whatever, but you don't need to do that.
Well, I mean, like with the analyst, and I know I'm kind of going into it a little bit now, but with the analyst, I can understand doing it then, because with the guy, I forget about what his name was or who he was. I guess the maker or whatever, the guy in the gray suit.
Yeah.
He had all these screens, kind of the same thing, displaying different people and Neo or Thomas Anderson at the same time. And it did right then, it did beforehand, it did, different things. So it was just like, okay, I get that. But like Morpheus has it, everybody has a screen that does this shit. Kind of like what you're saying. It's basically they're just playing the movie over. And it's like, I get that, but like with the analyst, it makes sense. With everybody else, it's kind of like.
And like, why would you hire Yahya Abdul-Mateen to play Morpheus when you have Lawrence Fishburne on a curtain, just reminding us like, oh, that was the original Neo.
So they touch on that too. Did you guys like the idea of them even touching on it, or would it have been just a Craig? You're more of a tech computer kind of guy, game guy. You have different versions of upgrades out there all the time.
Yeah,
you could have just simply said, it's an upgrade.
In the film, they show that Morpheus is gone; he's dead, and all Yahya is another rendition of. He was actually an agent, and he's just another rendition of what Morpheus is, kind of like what Neo was like the 8th generation of Neo. So that's all it is, and they're just trying. I think once again they're trying to go so in depth that they're like, we have to portray Neo on the background so that people are like, or not Neo, Morpheus, so that they're like, this guy's Morpheus now.
You talked about it a few weeks ago, how you were hoping that they didn't bring up an 8th or 9th generation of Neo.
Yeah, they did it with everybody else.
Right. Were you happy with the character development of Neo? Did you, first off, let's start off with the beginning. Did you guys at least like how, this is all based off of his Matrix trilogy video game franchise? Did you like the use of that?
So essentially what's going on is they gave Neo, Thomas Anderson, the whole thought of the Matrix and put him back in the Matrix to simply, kind of blind him from what is actually happening outside, which is keeping him and Trinity next to each other to create substantial amounts of power. It's
look at that. We're watching some of the movie now, as you guys can check it out on HBO Max, and just some of the CGI is just, you would think for a big budget movie, every time Morpheus shows up in those, those the nano looking stuff, it's just, even with this cat right here, it's just not very. It's like almost PlayStation 2, 3 graphics.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it's just. I think the way the figure looks, I think it looks tacky. I don't think it's bad.
But yeah, I mean,
But did you like that? The whole thing where he's like a computer designer, binary is basically his experience from the last 3 Matrix movies, or do you think that was just kind of like, really?
I think it's just.
I mean, binary was kind of his experience because, as you've seen, in most of it, he would see in what the Matrix is kind of
Ones
known
and zeros.
But it's kind of just like.
I think the design of this film is so simple that when you break it down and look at it, you're like,
there's not much there.
There's no substance to this film.
No.
You take a guy who has been a part of the Matrix and the real world. He's dead, but you're still resurrecting him to supply power for the robots, and then you just throw him back in the Matrix with like a covered up face. He's like programmed to look like somebody else, but he's still Thomas Anderson with a wiped memory. And you're like, make him a game designer of the Matrix, and nobody will know. It's bad.
you think they were trying too hard to make it a smart film,
Yes.
Yeah.
and it just failed drastically?
Yeah, big time.
But I think that's what you said, Craig. It's just like I think they had somewhat good ideas on paper, but
I think
it just
on
translated
paper,
terribly.
when they were in the boardroom talking about it. That's why I don't think this movie was just to cash in on Keanu. I think having Keanu as hot as he was a big help, but I really do think Lana Wachowski came out and said, 1, 2, and 3 were great, but I do have a bigger idea to kind of solidify the ending for The Matrix, if this is the ending. And, they were probably in a meeting and were like, this, and they're like, that's amazing. I think it's a great idea. And then when it came to time to film it, I think it just didn't hit the mark.
I do think that I'm not going to trash on this movie completely, but I do think the opening was pretty solid. I think
Seeing the reprogramming of
and then it gets you hyped up for a Matrix movie. You get to see the conversations between Bugs and
which
Morpheus.
I think Bugs was really good.
She was a really, really good part of this movie.
Jessica Henwick was my favorite part of this.
But I think the opening was really, really solid. And then you kind of get the showing of Morpheus / agent. He's kind of like, do we trust him? Do we not trust him? What is he in this movie?
I think the use of newer technology where they kind of said like, hey, we don't have to use phones to jack out anymore. They upgraded the storyline with the upgrading of technology in our, in the real world.
Yeah.
Do you think that there was just too much usage of the word dude? Like with Keanu Reeves and the other guy he kept going back and forth, and Keanu Reeves just kept getting called dude throughout the whole movie by the funny looking fat character guy.
Oh, I think that's just that character, and I said it right before this. I was like, shitty guy.
Yeah.
Like, bad, either writing for the character or bad character.
Speaking of bad character, did you guys have any issues with the cast? I feel like other than, the main 4, I think the cast, even Neil Patrick Harris, I don't think they belonged in this movie.
No.
The guy who plays the new agent, who's kind of the new bad guy in this movie.
He kept looking like the 50 Shades of Grey guy.
Yeah. It was just a bad overall, it left a bad taste in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, I like Neil Patrick Harris for the most part, but he did not fit the role at all, really.
Well, when you hire Neil Patrick Harris, you just don't hire him just for anything. So, like, that going in, you knew, like, he was someone important, or he was, like, his character was going to be, like, the genius or whatever.
But I just don't think he himself fits that role.
Yeah, no.
I don't think he fits this world.
Right, that too.
And that's fair.
Because in the end, if you're having an altercation with him, which they do, and then he has to have that dialogue that really hits home,
not believable.
It doesn't hit home.
No. He was not. And on top of that, just having him as like a badass or something like that, it didn't work.
I control you. We used what made you against you, and I was just like,
what,
dude? I can't.
Like, I'm kind of picturing the guy from
How I Met Your Mother.
That, and then Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, no.
Did you guys like the idea that they used the quote unquote bullet time against Neo and Trinity? Like the cafe scene where like he fires the gun and they're trying to kill Trinity. It's
but so here's the thing: if Neo can do bullet time, shouldn't he be able to move the same speed in bullet time?
Yeah.
Like that's
I don't know, dude.
And then I did say, some more positive light is, I know she's not in it for too long, but the character development and the dialogue of Christina Ricci as she's talking about them developing the Matrix 4, I thought that was a pretty cool little funny tidbit of, hey, the producers want us to use any and everything we can to make the Matrix 4.
That was so bad.
You didn't like that?
That was so bad. The whole montage of like Thomas Anderson like kind of going through the motions,
going to the gym in the shower.
That was awful. The whole boardroom stuff was terrible.
I think the thought process of what people they tried to throw in the thought process of what people were thinking when a Matrix 4 came out in the boardrooms. I think that was, I think they thought putting it in was going to be funny, and it wasn't. It was just sitting there, you're watching it, and you're like, yeah, this is everything I thought, and this is everything you're doing, and it's failing at this point. So
it's kind of like
their use of being funny was not very good.
It's kind of like having a metaphorical joke and it just collapsing on itself because no one gets what you're talking about because you're trying to be too smart about it. Kind of like what you just said earlier, trying to be too smart about it, but going and saying this fucking flops, man. Like this is.
But that's the thing, when they're sitting there going like, yeah, Warner Brothers wants us to make another Matrix. It's just like that's so fucking meta. It's almost like it's ridiculous. It's like, no, we get. As an audience member, we're sitting here watching The Matrix 4 while you're making an inside joke about it. Like, you don't need to do that.
Because, I mean, a lot of my problems were just like, this is literal spoon-fed is what I've kind of thought about this movie. It's literally like, hey, remember, this happened between Neo and Morpheus, dude. Yeah. Okay, you've got to remember this, dude. Fucking remember!
Which is true. They play to the audience like, oh, we have a bunch of,
They say dude every single time.
Like it's 60 years after the Matrix came out, and they're hitting a brand new audience, which they're not.
And I mean, this isn't. Yeah, exactly. This isn't 60 literal years.
Yeah.
This is what, like
20 years,
less than 20
years.
It's about 20 right on the money,
roughly. Yeah. So I mean, it's just like
the people that grew up with the Matrix knew what happened.
But you got to remember, though, 20 years in between an actual third and a fourth film—that's a long time.
I don't consider this a fourth film.
Well. To its audience members, maybe, but this is kind of like if you're talking 20 years in between Star Wars Episode 6 and Episode 7, I can deal with that. But you're talking 20 years in between, literally, a third and fourth film.
But you know what the difference is between that? Between Episode 6 and 7, we didn't think there was no more. That was it for Star Wars. Like we didn't think we were going to get 7.
True.
This has been in speculation for years.
And with Star Wars, time has passed.
Yeah.
Now, in this universe, time has passed as well, but...
Would they say 60 years?
But Niobe's still in it, and that's another bad part of the film.
She should be dead. She should be dead, truthfully.
I don't like how she's the one that stuck her neck out for Neo, but yet in this film, she's like, you have to go to your room and be locked up, and we're not doing that. War this, war that. Like... Choose a different character if you're going to go that route. If you're putting Niobe in here, have her be like, I put my faith in you and you delivered, so let's go do the damn thing.
I didn't get the whole point of going from Zion to Ion.
Yeah, that was Io City or whatever it is. Yeah.
So
what happened to Zion? Is Zion just gone, or is this like another stage of that city?
It's just
program upgrade, right?
No, I mean, this is the real world, so there's no program upgrades, but I think they just evolved from living in the caves to being able to be outside to see the clouds and whatnot. And there's no more hiding because that war is over.
Right.
So you can actually be outside of the caves and outside of...
And in the first hour, you really just get them trying to convince Neo he is who he is.
which is a retread of the original.
Correct. And then literally 10 minutes after the 1 hour mark hits, he's like, well, let's
I know Kung Fu.
let's risk it all to save Trinity.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like you spend half of the film trying to convince him he's Neo again, and then the second half you get him trying to
Convince Trinity that she's Trinity.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden they're just strictly badasses right at the off the
the
rip.
last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. I'm not a fan of The Matrix, but I do adore and thought the first one was a top-notch action film. Give or take, 2 and 3 kind of did what they did. But man, this one is just
You know how people say,
Swing and a miss.
yeah, you know how people say the original Indiana Jones trilogy, and then Kingdom of the Crystal Skull never happened. Is this what's going to happen to this film?
Absolutely.
But hold on a second. I was going to ask you guys. There's a lot of people out there. We got emails to prove it. They love this movie. One of their favorite movies of the year. Saying that this is an epic sci-fi love story between Neo and Trinity.
I don't want a damn love story.
Two characters who they adore. Give or take the way it ends,
But the funny thing, I feel like, and I
it's a
could be
very
wrong,
forgettable movie.
it's a very forgettable movie, and I don't, you say this is a love story between Neo and Trinity. Trinity, like, Carrie Ann Moss is only in this movie for, like, maybe 30 minutes.
Correct.
And so, like, I guess I don't see what the love story is.
Well, it all comes down to really the cheesy line between Neil Patrick Harris at the end. He's like, Neo, you're not worth anything without Trinity, and Trinity's not worth anything without Neo. And you're sitting there, I should have done this before, but spoiler alert, my bad. We just got into this movie, but I mean, you guys can go physically check it out on HBO Max, but I think we started talking about it.
Well, it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late.
You've gone too far.
I mean, when we put the name on this, you should have known.
But-
Spoilers.
I agree with you.
I'll put it in the headline.
You spend 3 whole movies trying to say that Neo is the one.
Yeah.
Neo does it all.
He's the chosen one.
He's the chosen one. He's the only one that can
He is
save
our
everything.
Christ-like figure.
And then in this movie, you come out and you say, well, anybody could have been you, Neo.
What was the point in that then?
Exactly. You're shitting on the first 3 movies with a couple lines in this movie. Anybody could have been you, Neo, and you're nothing without Trinity. Like, and then you come out and I'm all for female heroes. Black Widow's amazing. But what's the point of having Trinity be the one to carry him off and fly?
Oh, yeah.
Like, is that just because of like a change of heart, or like if that's just some bullshit you threw in the story to make it happen?
Or do you think it had something to do with the transition of the directorial way this movie was written to where, you know what, let's try to make Neo the guy for the first 3 movies, and then what better way to reboot the story and have Trinity come and say, you know what, Neo, because of your plug-in and my plug-in, we can connect as one, and now we are the chosen one. See what it did there?
But I don't like that because that was never a part of the first 3.
Batman needs Robin.
Well, Neo's
But
Batman,
this
and
wasn't-
he's not Robin.
I mean, it's not like Morpheus was fucking the Liam Neeson character in the fucking Dark Knight trilogy.
Well,
Ra's al Ghul. It's not like he was Ra's al Ghul.
and going back to the first 3, the Oracle never said anything to Trinity about being that powerful.
I mean, the only thing that was known that she said was, "You're gonna fall in love with the one," basically.
Did she fall in love with herself? No.
Exactly.
All right, guys, don't forget to check out this week's episode of Friday the 14th podcast. Listen to the guys as they talk all about Candyman from 2021. It's another great actor from The Matrix.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
There you go. We're talking. I'll let you guys know. I'll be on an episode this week, Thursday, Friday the 14th podcast. We're going to be talking all about Candyman 2021. So join Nick and myself as it should be a fun, deep end conversation all about Candyman. I can't wait. To me, it was one of the best films of the year. It's different. It's out there. So give it a listen, and I think it'll be live on YouTube exclusively this Wednesday, 8 p.m. Candyman. Check it out, Friday the 14th podcast. You can also follow them on all the social media accounts and listen to all their episodes in the past archives. Just follow them on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, including this one, Friday the 14th podcast. Ed's our Candyman here at the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Could you imagine him getting out of a van, giving you some candy?
Yeah.
Run.
So we've kind of talked about the story and how we don't think it hit on all the marks that they were hoping for. I know we said we didn't like Neil Patrick Harris. We don't really like the guy that plays Mr. Anderson.
To me, I don't like anybody in this movie other than
I thought Bugs and Yaya were hits.
Bugs, Yaya, and then you gotta like Keanu.
But at the same time,
Even Carrie and Moss.
We can't hear you, Ed.
Even Carrie and Moss.
Yeah, we still can't hear you.
yeah. Anyways, but I mean, we say that, and yes, it is Keanu, but the fighting sequences seemed dull.
Yeah.
It seemed very
Just like bananas.
John Wick.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't the original Matrix trilogy. Like you could tell they were pulling punches and they weren't doing what they were doing initially. And I understand age has something to do with it, but you have to find ways to work around that.
Well, and that to me,
I think William Dafoe did just fine.
Right?
I'm really tired throughout this whole movie. All the flashbacks,
Yes.
all the callbacks, showing in the White Room, showing some of the scenes from the first Matrix on a little tube TV. I didn't get it, and I don't want to get it because I just felt like it was just unnecessary. Guess what? All these movies are on HBO Max. If
Yes.
people want to go back and watch them before they watch this one, let them.
And that's what I'm talking about. This movie is so meta, and it just so is like drooling all over itself about what came before. It hurts the film so badly, and it doesn't make it even. It's not even enjoyable nostalgia.
Instead of making it a fourth movie and moving forward, you spend all this time reflecting on what was.
We went backwards,
and you don't move.
You should have called The Matrix Reacting, because it's just reaction.
The Matrix Reflection.
Yeah,
like we're reflecting on the past 3 successes we had. Hopefully, this one's good.
Rebirth. But I talked about a few weeks ago that Rebirth was one of the names that was. I don't know. What about the scenes where they're coming back out of the goo and you get some? Did you guys even like that, or were you just like same shit from the other movies?
I mean, they kind of touch on it, and I see why it happened. They essentially put them back together with all the nanobots and whatnot, but it's
I talked about it 2 weeks ago or last week, Craig. Me and you talked about it for a little bit. I still say Spider-Man and HBO Max murdered this movie.
Yeah.
Week 2, people still went to go see Spider-Man, blew this out of the water. HBO Max completely just raped this first week of opening. The Matrix could not make anything week 1. $70 million for the fourth Matrix film. And I'm kind of like, is it on HBO Max, or is it because of Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man No Way Home?
I think they did it way too close to Spider-Man for one.
Yeah.
And for two, with it being on HBO Max. I think their choices in this film just were not very good all the way around.
Well, and
watch this be like a 20 years later. This is like a
something
cult
we
classic.
understand. Yeah.
It's like Evil Dead in 20 years.
But let's be honest. I mean, okay, take out the whole notion. Take Spider-Man out of the factor. Take HBO Max out of the factor. Was anyone asking for this? Did anyone care about a fourth Matrix movie?
I would have went and seen this in the theater if it wasn't available anywhere else. That's just me.
I think because of the lore of Keanu Reeves and maybe the bad taste that Revolutions did leave in some people's mouth. If it was me and if it was not on HBO Max, even without talking about it on this episode, I probably would want to go check it out in the theaters. And I know a lot of original Matrix fans who went night 1, night 2 at the IMAX and saw this on the big screen, and they just fell in love with it. again, I wasn't that big of a Matrix fan, so I didn't fall in love with this movie. That's why I couldn't wait to talk to Craig because he likes all three of them.
Well, and this is just opinions off of one watch. It may change in the future, but initially, from what I saw and what I'm seeing now, as we're kind of rewatching some parts on it, I I didn't really like it. So
Um, I don't know. Yeah, it was kind of rough, kind of a rough watch for me, especially this. Now, I did enjoy more of the dialogue the second time around. So
some of the dialogue between Morpheus and Neo was good.
yeah, especially even some of the dialogue with Tiffany and Thomas in coffee shops. You know, when he says I'll pay for it, or he's having the same kind of coffee she is, and they have that conversation. They do have some deep conversations. Again, I maybe it's because I went in thinking of a badass Matrix film, but at the end of the day, it's just Neo trying to get Trinity and Trinity trying to get Neo, and then you got Neil Patrick Harris in the middle saying you guys are nothing without each other. I don't know.
Well,
It's a very shallow movie when you break it down to its whole parts.
if that was the whole legit plan of the movie, you could have told that story in like 2 hours, hour and 50 minutes. Why is this movie almost damn near 2.5 hours? I don't.
Too girthy.
Because
It's ridiculous.
Because they talk about building the video game for 45 minutes of this film.
Yeah.
It's just they spend too much time on little things that have no purpose in moving forward the trilogy or the Matrix as a whole. And it's just like, we're going to rehash on this. We're going to rehash on that. This is why this is happening. This is this. And it's just not. They could have done so much more, which is what irritates me. I understand if people like it. Sure. It's a part of the universe you enjoy. But at the same time, you should be frustrated that they did not expand it much further than what they did.
This movie is the definition of laziness. I feel like this is a very, very cash grab, lazy film. I'd like to hear everybody else's opinions. You know, send us your star ratings. We do have some star ratings for the Matrix Resurrections. It's going to be fun here in a few weeks to do our top 5 disappointments of 2021. I think this might be on some people's lists. So I can't wait to get into that conversation. But guys, do you guys have any favorite scenes maybe that you want to name from the movie? I'll go off a few right quick. I did like the train sequence when they go through the mirror and they all of a sudden are on Japan in a train. I thought that was a fun scene. The restroom scene with Morpheus and Neo. Trinity and Neo being on the motorcycle with the helicopter chase. I thought that was a really, really fantastic scene. I did enjoy that. Other than that, I didn't even enjoy the final battle leading up to Trinity and Neo being on top of the roof talking to Neil Patrick Harris's character, to where she grabs Neo's hand, she's like, "Come with me if you want to live," and then she takes him and flies him off into the sunset.
You mean like, yeah, come with me if you want to live.
Yeah.
Do it now.
And then you get
That would have been a better ending.
that's kind of just how the movie ends.
Or if she sacrificed herself for Neo this time, and she's like, I'm here, kill me.
I was expecting her to take his hand and kind of like get onto a magic carpet, maybe, and that song would have probably been a better way to end the movie.
And sing.
Yeah.
And the blue Will Smith just randomly shows up.
Oh no!
You ain't never had a friend, never.
So that being said, those are some of my favorite scenes. Ed, do you have any favorite scenes?
The Japan train scene was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I felt like the one of the last scenes where the 700 cops were around them.
The SWAT and FBI scene.
Yeah, I thought that was all right. I did like that quite a bit. Kind of reminiscent of Reloaded.
9/11. Oh,
God dang, dude. Other than that, not really. So,
Craig, what about you? Do you have any favorite scenes?
Yeah, the door transitions in this movie were really good. I think they used the aspect of that I think that was one of the highest achieving parts in this film was the door transitions between universes and locations. The opening sequence where they're kind of looking at a rehashed version of the Matrix to kind of, they're like, why are they reprogramming what's already been done? And, it kind of leads into the reason of what's going on. So I thought that opening scene was good. The door transitions were good. The fight between Neo and Morpheus was pretty good. And then, I mean, there's just decent scenes here and there between. Nothing that really else that sticks out.
Very, very forgettable. Zach, man, we'll end it with you. You have any favorite scenes? You can say no if you don't have any.
No, I mean probably the bike chase with the bots like falling off the roof and then trying to stop them on their way to wherever they're going.
Human bombs.
Yeah, I mean it was. I mean by that point I was so checked out. I was like, okay, this is kind of entertaining. So, you know.
I do think this movie was 40 minutes too long.
Yes.
I
just think there was 40 minutes
wasted
on other shit that there wasn't supposed to be to put it on.
You know Craig is serious when he cusses on this podcast.
It's frustrating, dude.
It is.
It's so frustrating.
It is. This was one of those movies that I know you were really looking forward to. And in some breaths, there were some really good CGI scenes. And then, like I said, in some breaths, there were some pretty bad CGI scenes for me, at least.
That's this movie in a nutshell.
I didn't enjoy Jada Pinkett Smith's character at all. I do appreciate them trying to use actual physical prosthetics to make her look that old, but I still just did not enjoy the character. So we're going to get ready to give our star ratings. And again, guys, if you would like to send in your star ratings, send it in at cinemen921@gmail.com. Send your star ratings in at cinemen921@gmail.com. Ed, man, we're starting off with you, sir. Your star rating for The Matrix Resurrections.
Honestly, I'm going to give it a 5. It's not really all that good. I'm not. Yeah, no.
Would you ever watch it again?
I'd probably watch it one more time just to maybe see. Maybe I missed something. Maybe it was just kind of like what Craig said because I only watched it once. Maybe something was missed. I don't know, but I'm not really much on this movie. So
Zach?
Yeah, I'm gonna go right there with you, Ed. It's a 5. It's not. I don't hate this movie. I don't like it. It's just one of those like, okay, it's done. It's over. Never have to think about it again.
I watched it now.
Yeah, one of those.
Craig, sir?
Right there with you guys. It's a 5. Doesn't do anything good for me. Doesn't do anything bad for me. I can sit here and put it away and not really care to watch it again. It's something that I might watch again. It doesn't completely diminish the first 3. It doesn't advance the first 3. It's just, it is what it is. It's a 5.
I'm going to disagree with you guys. The first watch, I just could not get into. Second watch had some kind of decency with the dialogue.
10 out of 10.
I think the fourth film in this franchise gets 4 stars for me. I did not thoroughly enjoy it more the second time around. Like I said, the only good thing that kind of was a better view was the dialogue. Other than that, I just did not have a good time with this movie. And it really disappointed me because
I don't know. They could have done, like Craig said, they could have had so much potential for this, and they just like squander it. It's just like what was the, like I said on the outset, what was the point of this
I feel
movie?
like this is a perfect view of how you just waste $70 million.
Yeah, basically, and it's not even made its budget back yet.
No,
so it's
or
basically a flop.
I mean 190.
Yeah.
So they wasted $190 million and it only made 70 back. So
yeah.
Let us know, guys. Are we being too harsh on this movie? Send us in your emails, your thoughts.
Is there something that we are just happening to miss on the watch?
Yeah, is it too meta for us? Let me know because, I mean, you guys know me. I watch anything once and I'll try to watch anything again. And guess what? When it comes out on physical media, guess who's going to buy it? And then guess who's probably going to watch it?
The $30 4K steelbook at Best Buy.
You shut your damn mouth. And then guess who's probably going to watch it again? So, I mean, talk says that it's going to re-release in April for the Blu-ray, so that's probably when I'm going to watch it again. But other than that, I don't have any kind of desire.
So let me ask this. Has this been the official lowest rated movie we've ever done?
Nah, Daredevil.
He gave Daredevil like a 4.
What'd you give Fast 9?
I don't remember, to be honest.
I think he gave it a 5 or a 4.
I was pretty low on Fast 9.
Well, I mean, like, combined.
Oh, combined?
Like, it's a 19 out of 40.
Zach gave Lion King a 3.
Yeah.
So
I think I gave it a 6.
This is pretty.
I think this
low.
is one of the lowest movies I've rated in quite a bit. But yeah, other than that, man, and it's kind of, I didn't want it to be like a letdown because I'm like, man, this is the final episode of our podcast for the year, and I know the year ends in just a few days. But man, we had the highest of highs with Spider-Man, and then it just kind of went the lowest of lows with the Matrix Resurrections.
And is that a product of Spider-Man being so damn good?
I don't think so. Honestly, I think these are, I know what you're saying as far as like, well, Spider-Man's such a good movie that anything you go see afterwards was. I don't think that's the case because I watched some newer movies this week and I was like, top-notch movies. So I just think that was complete.
It's just this movie, really. I mean, this movie.
I mean, it's just one of those things. When something like Spider-Man: No Way Home hits, everything else is fucked. I mean, truthfully.
As in theater-wise, 100%. But I mean, honestly, putting them side by side, this is just. There's some good concepts. There's a ton of good stuff that they had and that they could have used. Like some of the machines that are on their side. The daughter could have been the daughter from the
Train
third
the,
film.
the train stop.
yeah, could have been used better and used more for that matter. Against
She
the
legit
analyst.
stayed in one spot for that film.
But I mean, like, there's so many different things. Like, this didn't even need, like Neo could have been the only one. It didn't need Carrie Ann Moss. She could have played a bigger part. Didn't have to have like this whole ass family and all kinds of other stuff. Like, there was a ton of stuff that could have happened, but
What about like the Mothra machine? Did you like that?
I thought it was cool. I mean, honestly, because I mean, it helped some things along, but I mean, in the same breath, it's kind of almost like I don't know. This movie really insists upon itself that you need to think it's good because it's the Matrix, and we're here again.
We're
man.
back, damn it.
But dude,
This movie has 5 things that it missed on, and
what's that?
it by not having the original Morpheus and Mr. Smith, Agent Smith, those would have been 2 huge additions. Not doing a love story and simply building on the battle of like the programs and the Matrix versus the robots and kind of having another war like that. You could still have a love story and getting Trinity back while doing something like that.
So let's talk about the ending just for a quick second. Do you guys think it's going to lead on to another one?
I hope not.
I think they were wanting to. Now
After they see the box office, they're going to be like, yeah, you know what?
we're good.
I was about to
Let's
say,
get the other
yeah.
Wachowski sister.
And what's his name? Or what's her name?
I don't know. It's Lana and something. I don't know.
Lana and not Rusev. That's WB.
The Rusev.
I don't know.
I just think they're gonna look at the box office and they're gonna say, I think it's up, and it sucks because I think you could have done another 3 movies, and it could have been really good.
Speaking of up, next week, Don't Look Up, the new Leonardo DiCaprio movie, which is now currently streaming on Netflix, or you can check it out in theaters. You got Leo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, Cate Blanchett, Jonah Hill, Tyler Perry, Timothy Chalamet, Ron Perlman, Ariana Grande. A star-studded cast next week. Huge Leo fan, so I think this is going to be a fun movie. Zach, you said you're already like an hour and a half into it. Again, check it out on Netflix. It's going to be our first episode of 2022. And we'll get into the email bag. So you guys go ahead and continue to send those emails, and we'll read some next week, as we do every single Monday. Phasma616 says, my favorite theater experience is and always will be X-Men in 2000. Seeing my favorite comic book heroes come to life on the big screen was honestly so epic. I teared up. Terrific movie and a great experience. Quentin says, my best theater experience was in 2019 with Joker. The theater stood for like 5 minutes. Standing applause. New York City, sold out theater. Steven says, big thanks to a fun episode last week. What a movie and what such a fun episode. Great conversation. Keep it up. From Steven. Thank you, Steven.
Appreciate you.
Gabriel says, my top favorite theater experience was definitely the ending of The Departed. Opening weekend, the gasp that that theater let out when Leo got shot in the head. Hell of a fucking movie. What an ending.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Cool.
Man. Sam G69 says, The Matrix was terrible. Nothing about it was good at all. 3 stars. Most disappointing movie of the year. 3 stars.
Might be agreeing with Anticipation versus Deliverance.
Deliverance is a good movie too. Natalie says Spider-Man No Way Home is an absolutely must film to see. Had such a great time. 8 stars. Henry, my top theater experience is opening weekend. Terminator 2. What a ride. Man, I'm jealous. Some of these people, getting to see
Dang,
movies
man.
like that in a theater, and could you imagine?
Yeah.
Man.
However the theme song goes. Don't judge me.
Barry says, I loved The Matrix Resurrections. I feel like it was a better closure of the film it was a better closure of a film than the third one, and absolutely loved all the callbacks. 9 stars. So,
It'll average out in there somewhere.
Coco Chris says,
7 stars.
Coco Chris says, Matrix sucked ass. This movie is an all-time worst, and it makes me want to cancel my HBO subscription. 3 stars.
Oh my god.
Kennedy says, my top 5 Spider-Man moments. Gwen Stacy's death at number 5. Goblin's death in the first movie. Spider-Man Doc Ock fight on the train. Spider-Man 2. The Civil War Spider-Man show-up scene. Fun scene. And then his number 1, Spider-Man versus the Goblin. The apartment fight in No Way Home. Josh says Matrix was complete crap. 4 stars. Sarah97, my all-time favorite theater experience was the sound of Iron Man's death in a jam-packed theater. Complete silence. Eesh.
Except for my tears.
That was pretty much everywhere.
Omar says Matrix Resurrections is a disappointing mess of a sequel. Couldn't get past the bad CGI or some of the bad dialogue. 4 stars. Man.
Seems like there's a general consensus about this movie.
Seems pretty bad. We're going to read some more next week, but I want to ask you guys some questions before we get out of here. Zach, what a fun year for this podcast. We went and reached some heights that we probably didn't think that we'd be able to catch. COVID helped out with, some people staying at home. Where do you want to see us go? What do you want to do next year?
Next year, I think we're going to have a lot of fun content that's going to come out. I think, probably the big thing is that, we're possibly going to a con.
We are.
October of
In
next
October,
year.
we're going to the con. Halloween Palooza, put out by Prescribed Film, so this is going to be fun. Next Halloween weekend, not next.
It's early October, yeah.
Early October, 5 OU Texas weekend. If you guys want to go, that's where we're going to be. We're going to be in Iowa.
Craig's already crying. It's all right.
So
I know why Johnny doesn't want to go. Or I know why Johnny wants to go, but some people look forward to that game.
So I think that's going to be fun. But yeah, is there any kind of certain subject material, or is there one movie that you could throw in there that you think we should probably do?
When for
just throughout the year?
Yeah,
for next year.
All
that year.
I don't know. It's just one of those things that week to week we kind of just see what's going on in the movie world, and whether it be new releases, old releases, something that just hit Blu-ray. February, with the exception of Rear Window, we're doing a lot of 2021 films, and ending the month with our top 5+5 of the year, and then we go into Batman the next week. So we got
very jam-packed.
Yeah. And
let's talk about the award show, because that's coming up the very last Monday of February 28th. We're going to take all these movies from 2021. We're going to dish out some awards, and then we're going to have our top 5+5 movies that we've seen this year. So
we got the Whammy Award.
The Whammy Award. Then don't forget we have the Dog Shit of the Year Award, the Worst Movie of the Year. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait. Some stuff is already in line as far as how the show's going to be lined up. Usually every year it's kind of different. Lightyear, I think, depending when does that come out? Is that April?
I'm not even sure.
June? I think
June.
that's going to be a fun movie to go talk about.
Opening day.
Opening day. You know what? I also want to take some. I'll ask myself this question now. I can't wait to do the con in October. I think that's going to take us to new heights. And then you know what? Just taking some time and looking at what some movies are about to head out. And next week we're going to talk about. I'll go ahead and announce next week's top 5 is going to be our top 5 most anticipated movies of 2022. So that's going to be fun talking about that top 5. My general process of this podcast is to do stuff more in-house with our sponsors. I think it's going to be fun. We can go and do some stuff now in-house with San Marcos Mexican Restaurants, OKC Soda. We're going to be going up there and doing some commercials this year when the weather gets a little bit nicer.
Commercials?
Some commercials. We're going to go and do some stuff again with OKC Cinema, Rodeo Cinema. And then we're going to be doing some stuff with, Red and Blues Pizza here in Oklahoma City. And then I think it's going to be super, super fun. Just all the stuff that we have lined up. And then you know what? I wouldn't mind trying to do some stuff with Dead Center. Some film festivals in Oklahoma. Just locally, some stuff like that would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I think the biggest, like...
I want to give back to the community.
I think our next goals... Yeah, I was going to say our next goals are probably, like, not as much as, like, reaching out
to
globally.
Listeners. Right.
But more so like trying to find ways to reach out more locally and be like known in the community. I think that would be pretty cool.
And one of the things, I already have somebody who is like, I don't know, he's like a youth pastor. He kind of helps out like local churches and stuff. But he's got a way to make us some T-shirts. And it's not like a big T-shirt. It's not nothing with no quotes on it. It's just got our logo on it, our brand. What better way to like clothe some of the homeless here locally than to put our shirts on them with the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, and we can warm them up with our logo. I think that's pretty fun. And I think putting some stuff like that out there for everybody to wear. Backpacks, hats. We could do some community service.
Doing like a toy drive next year would be pretty cool.
Let the Cine-Men Movie Podcast serve you some turkey on Thanksgiving. So
as long as it's not Ed's turkey.
His turkey rumbles and jumbles.
Them turkey thighs, bro.
That's the ham hocks.
Yeah, no shit.
Personally, I'm looking forward to Clerks 3 coming out.
Oh yeah, I did ask about movies too.
And then on top of that, I'd love to do Friday, the original Friday. That'd be pretty cool.
As long as you don't bring up, what is that, car washers or whatever.
Look, motherfucker, okay? Look. But, that maybe another continuation of a different Harry Potter movie for that matter. And also...
Speaking of, The Secrets of Dumbledore.
Not going to see that.
What if we're doing it day 1?
Don't care.
Secrets of Dumbledore.
Ed'll be calling in that day.
Don't care.
So it has Harry Potter and you're like, nah, do it, I'm good.
No, it's because they fucked over Johnny Depp, and I'm not hating on Mad Milk.
Mad Milk.
I'm not hating on the man that replaced him.
I got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Got some Mad Milk over here.
I think he's fucking wonderful, but at the same time, the way they fucked him over,
I think they replaced Johnny Depp because of what
you say. Does that you say I butcher names and he's over here calling
Mads Milk?
I think they replaced him because of the allegations, and I think they were too far in with the new guy to go back and replace it with Johnny Depp. You can't hate somebody for.
No, I don't know. Like I said, I think is a wonderful.
But you just said, "I'll do it. I'm not going day 1." But you're holding a grudge because they were trying to make.
No, I'm not holding a grudge towards him.
You're holding a grudge towards
the studio.
Yes, the studio's doing what was best for them.
Which is true, because what if the allegations came out to be true that he was a woman beater?
Okay, but don't wrong.
Because you can't.
Then you go back and CGI him.
Don't wrong. Be unbiased. Fuck both of them. Warner Brothers has the rights towards Aquaman as well as Harry Potter. So take out bitch name and take out Johnny Depp. I'm cool with that. If they would have went that route, that's fucking
Check this
cool.
out. Warner Brothers is in control of anything they do with Potter in the Potterverse.
No, I'm cool with
Warner
that.
Brothers. And guess what? Here's the other catch, and DC.
That's what I just
So
said. Dude.
no. You said Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers can try to pull that actress and pull them out, pull
DC's
her out.
like, no.
If DC doesn't want to be pulled out, they're not going to pull her out.
Warner Brothers owns DC though, doesn't it?
But
The
they
rights and all?
They still have different boards that they have to talk to and pull out and pull in.
But-
At the time that the allegations came out, Ed, she was the victim.
Yes, I understand.
they had already moved
Aquaman 2
forward.
is already done. It's
Yeah.
already wrapped. It's
yeah,
been done.
not since then.
They're not moving forward
but
with Amber Heard.
still
though.
either way.
Yeah, they're not moving on with
You
Amber
have-
Heard.
I'm skipping that movie too if y'all do that. I mean, or if we do that, it's simple as that.
Fine, you can rewatch Matrix Resurrections then.
I
That's
would.
your punishment.
I would.
That's your punishment.
I would for 72 hours straight.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
This needs to be a
I'm
bet.
not kidding.
If Ed does not
72 hours straight?
if Ed does not watch this movie for 72 straight hours, he's got to
Okay.
shave his entire head and his beard.
Right on the Oculus.
Too easy.
Too
What
Too
was
easy.
that? But
Hair grows back.
but if you watch it, if you can sit through it, you can't shave your head for a whole year.
If I can sit through it, no. There's no fuck. What the fuck is the bet? No, that doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
That's a punishment.
Exactly.
Punishment. That's fucking stupid.
You're punishing a company that was trying to do what was best
Fuck
for them.
them. I'm not
You're-
a billionaire.
You're sitting here like, I'm not
fucking
doing that bet because of blah, blah, blah. You are misjudging the entire...
If Ed can watch the movie for 72 straight hours, Craig, you can't shave your hair for a whole year.
He doesn't do
I don't
it
shave my
anyways.
hair. I cut it.
But no, I'm not doing Aquaman 2, and I'm not doing the Secrets of Guilt. Fucking Dumbledore.
Gryffindor.
Either.
But
Basically.
Dumbledore simply replaced Johnny Depp. They didn't... It's not like they put Amber Heard in his place. You could
Oh,
still...
you know how angry Ed would if that happened. You know how angry Ed
Well,
would come on
she's
here.
the victim. Put him in. Off with this head.
I don't think we're
Still.
going to do the Secrets of Dumbledore, but I think Aquaman 2 is probably in the linings.
Oh yeah, for sure. Aquaman's really good, especially
Um,
with Amber Heard.
Ed, what else are you looking for? Are you looking forward to the con in October?
Yeah, no, I think that'll be a cool experience, to be fully honest. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Why not, experience something different? Never been to a con at all, so yeah, that'd be a cool experience, first time experience for any of it, so yeah.
It's horror. I'm gonna be scared.
It's a horror con, yeah. Yeah, you're going to be scared. What about you, Craig? What kind of stuff are you looking forward to doing with this and with us next year? Oh, yeah, you did.
Pay attention,
Lightyear.
dude. I got goosebumps whenever it was shown in the trailer.
So, other than that, guys, let's put on the final nail in the coffin for the year 2021. Zach, you look forward to next week?
Yep.
Craig?
Yep.
Edward?
Yep.
Until then, guys, this is Juan saying we'll see you next year, and we will talk to you next Monday. No hashtag no breaks.
A whole year.
We're not taking any kind of breaks. Next year, the Cine-Men movie podcast. Join us as we check out Don't Look Up, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio. I didn't know. I knew he had a lot of syllables in his name, but goddamn,
Talk about butchering names.
Hey,
it's like 8 syllables in there.
he's the man. I can't wait to check it out next week right here on the Cine-Men movie podcast. Happy New Year's, guys. Be safe, drink responsible, because we want you to listen next week.
Well, there's other reasons too, but
I saw you dancing in a crowded room. You look so happy when I'm up with you. But then you saw me, caught you by surprise. A single teardrop falling from your